This is KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications. This is KHQA. It's your news now.
And this is Saturday, April the 5th, and you have indeed entered overtime. And while the rest of the basketball world is enjoying March Madness right now, we here in the Tri-States are hunkering down for Resume Madness. One high-profile high school job, maybe the highest-profile job in the state, is already open at Quincy High. And now it appears the region's only Division I men's basketball program could soon be soliciting new applicants as well. Huskers Online, a member of the Rivals.com family, is reporting that Western Illinois basketball boss Jim Molinari is in line to become Tim Miles' new lead assistant at Nebraska. Robin Washut quoted an unnamed source close to the situation in essentially calling the hire a done deal. Now, if this does indeed come to pass, it would be quite a setback for Leatherneck basketball, which despite a lackluster 10-20 finish this past winter, seemed to have found traction under Coach Mo. Last year, in fact, WIU earned a share of the Summit League regular season title, and Coach Mo led the program to back-to-back postseason invitationals in 2012 and 2013. That is the first such occurrence in program history. Molinari was also the Summit League Coach of the Year in 2013 in leading the Necks to a program record 22 wins that season. Again, we'll keep you apprised of all that happens. Big doings potentially coming up in Macomb. Let's take a look at the scoreboard today. We did have tennis crosstown rivalry, and Quincy High School looks really good in beating Quincy Notre Dame today by the final count of 8-1. Well, with the conditions in Athens too soggy to allow for high school baseball today, Illini West opted to play last-minute host to the already scheduled three-team affair and throw a little bit of a unique twist into the mix today. Charger coach Zach Houston decided he would make it fun in this round robin to make it a wood bat affair only. So early on, the 10 a.m. game, Triopia jumping out to the early lead in this one at the expense of the host team. That's Adam Hageman finding a spot between center and right field. That ball's going to roll for a triple. It's going to clear the bases, and all of a sudden, it is a 4-0 lead in favor of the Trojans. Isaac Weary's Ike Carley on the mound and just dealing today. I'm just picking up the nicknames the Triopia kids gave him. He was Ike Fantastic today. Icy Ike as well early on as the freshman was flat dealing. Dalton Elliott, though, gets the Chargers back into this ball game late, cutting the lead to 4-1 in the fifth with this little rip double down the third base line. Scores Mr. Bennett, makes it a 4-1 game. Bottom of the seventh, the Chargers would rally for 3 runs with 2 outs. All started with an unearned run on a bad air. Then Alex Rhodes comes in as a pinch hitter, rips the RBI rip here. That plus a balk makes it a 4-4 game, sends us to the bottom of the 8th inning. Big play right here. Braden Bennett with the infield single as he somehow hustles his way to first base. Eventually, the Chargers would again load the bases with 2 outs. Weird ending in this ball game. Colton Mellinger, the pop-up to right field. 2 outs, mind you, and that is a play that simply has to be made. It wasn't, and that is how you get a walk-off win. The Chargers end up beating Triopia 5-4. Isaac Weary's the freshman, your hard luck loser after pitching an absolute gem on the day. Also later in the day, Nolan Ard with a home run as the Chargers end up beating Athens 10-0. Elsewhere in the scoreboard today, South Fulton was a buzzsaw in Beardstown. Jordan Bear, ace of staff. He shows you why. There are another 14 strikeouts for him. First win of the season as the Rebels take down the Tigers 4-2 in the first game and then just pound out the hits in game number 2, winning that one 12-1. At the Galesburg tournament, I should say, Quincy High School today losing a pair to Alleman. The bat's really not working for the Blue Devils and losing a 6-1 decision to United Twnship as well. Elsewhere today, what a pitching effort out of West Prairie in both games. Grant Bland, the hard luck loser to Annawan in game number 1. Kid had 17 strikeouts in 9 innings today. Wow, just a tough way to lose as he drops a 3-2 decision. Dalton Dieter, a little more fortunate, gave up just 1 hit on the day, went the distance as West Prairie shut down Annawan in that second game, 1-0. Tough day for Bushnell Prairie City as well, losing a pair to Lewiston 11-1 and 8-6 in the nightcap. Payson Seymour, too much today for West Hancock. The Indian pitchers showing out. Tanner Stout in game number 1 with 6 strikeouts, and Austin Cultus, a name you need to remember, a kid who's fast rising in the area, 12 strikeouts in game number 2. Speaking of great pitchers, Dylan Jones, another hard luck loss today. He went 9 full, no decision. I shouldn't say loss for him. No decision in 9 innings. This game goes to 10. Piasaw Southwestern scores the decisive run when Dylan Jones is out of the game, and Rout drops a tough luck 1-0 decision. Western today, though, with a pair of wins on the road at Brussels. Isaac Hively with a home run in game number 1. And check out the day Dakota Girding had in game number 2. 6 ribbies, are you kidding me? In what turned out to be a 17-0 win for Western over Brussels. Again, Mr. Girding went nuts on the day. Let's take you to Missouri. Mark Twain and Highland going at it in the Clarence Cannon Conference Affair. And here come the Cougars down 2-0. Aaron Arnold triples on 2 throwing errors. We'll call it a triple in this case. Arnold running all over the place before he dives into third. It's actually a single, but it sounded sexier calling it a triple. Whatever, Mr. Arnold gets himself into scoring position, and from there it would be Keegan Miles driving Arnold in with this little grounder. Fielder's choice makes it a 2-1 lead still at that point in favor of Mark Twain. Then here come the Tigers, and they were good. Kevin Coram going to do it all today. Here he is hitting one that falls in center field to score a pair of runs as Mark Twain would extend its lead at that point to 4-1. Tigers not done, not by a long shot, as they came to life a little bit today in Ewing. James Parker going to bring in another run with this little ground out to short, just good enough to plate it. The lead expands to 5-1 at that point. How about some Douglas Kander as well? Going to shut the door on any attempt at a cutback. Kid was outstanding on the hill today. Absolutely filthy right here with the straight low corner fastball. Beautiful stuff from him as Mark Twain gets the win today by the final count of 6-2. Next game up, Louisiana and Mark Twain going at it. Douglas Camden picked up where he left off earlier in the game, driving in Ethan Anderson here to give Mark Twain the early 1-0 lead in this ball game, but that lead would be very short-lived. Top of the second, man on for Dallas Castagna. Leave the park, young man, and he does so. In fact, our vision got blurry. He hit that ball so hard. That is a home run that puts Louisiana up 2-1 as the entire city of Louisiana and all of his teammates as well seem to greet him at the plate. Kevin Coram tries to bring Mark Twain back in this game with a grounder that gets through the middle. 2 runs are going to squirt through to score at this point. Mark Twain back with the lead at 3-2. Louisiana, though, going to get red hot after that. Dustin Green drives one down the left field line. Mr. Zach Richardson is fast a kid as you'll find in Tri-State baseball scores. Then it's Austin Baker driving in 2 more with a gapper single right here. Louisiana looks pretty darn good in winning this game today. Final count in favor of them was 8-3. Also on the day, Highland felled by Louisiana, who wins the sort of round robin today, if you will. Louisiana gets a 6-4 victory there to finish the day at 2-0. Also today, Dalton Overstreet pitches just well enough to get the Hannibal Pirates a win over the Marshall Owls on the road. Final count in that ball game was 7-6. We got softball today as well for you. Illini West Triopia, wild first game in this one. It's a 6-all tie in the 5th, 2 on for Aubrey Orth. And Orth, you glad she's there. Beautiful shot by number 21 right there, right up the middle to plate a pair, give her team an 8-6 lead. She will take advantage of the opportunities, as you saw, so will Shelby White. Drawing a wild pitch after having 2 doubles and 5 ribbies on the day. 1 run scores. Josie Finch, look at her go right here in her rundown trying to extend the lead. Oh, Miss Finch uses the Jedi mind tricks here to score to get the ball thrown away by Triopia. All of a sudden, it's a 9-6, 10-6 lead at that point. Elise Trout, she can flat hit, reigning student athlete of the week, or at least she was last week. 2 weeks ago, I should say. Great hit for her. That sets up Mackenzie Hall with the rip to shortstop at that point. Scores another run at that point. Mackenzie Hall on the plate, or on the dish, I should say on the mound and dealing to the dish in this one. Mackenzie Hall getting it done today. The windmill changeup. Beautiful stuff from her as Illini West scores 10 unanswered and wins today by the final count of 16-6. Illini West also run the second game today over Athens 10-0. As you see right there, Mackenzie Anderson really good in that game, going 3 for 4 at the plate. Beardstown today swept on the road at Jacksonville. 9-8 was the score in the first game. It was Jacksonville winning the second game by the final count of 5-3. Camp Point Central broke out the bats in McDonough County today, 13-2 in the first game and 12-0 in the second game. That's 25 runs on the day for the Central Panthers. West Prairie, tough luck win. I should say Annawan, tough luck loss to West Prairie 7-6. Paige Webster with 3 hits in that one. West Prairie also taking out Annawan in the second game by the final count of 6-2. And we are just getting warmed up here, my friends. We've got some great soccer highlights coming your way, and it is a huge day in Missouri high school football. Redistricting has been done, and the road to the Dome has changed significantly for a couple of teams in our area. We'll tell you how coming up next. Okay, let's put that, can we put that at the very bottom of the block? Yeah. Thank you, good sir. Sorry about that, I don't know what I did. women's scores right before tees 2. Perfect. All right, that should work.
You're watching KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications.
And welcome back to Overtime, everybody. High school football would not ordinarily seem to be a focus in early April, but whenever the Missouri High School Activities Association opts to engage in redistricting every few years, the path to the Show Me Bowl can be radically, significantly altered. Today was such a day, and we have big changes to report for a host of Northeast Missouri teams, maybe the biggest of which for Monroe City and Mark Twain, who are now officially Class 1 teams. Ordinarily, dropping down in class would seem a great thing. Unfortunately for the Panthers and the Tigers, and of course the Louisiana Bulldogs, who remain in Class 1 District 1, they get locked into a complex with a couple of traditional powers, including VALLE, who's always fantastic. So Monroe City, Mark Twain, Louisiana, whoever comes out locally is going to have to beat a state championship threat every single year in VALLE. Also, St. Vincent is in that grouping as well. Not easy. The rest of that complex is comprised of Barrett Academy, Crystal City as well. No real changes in Class 1, District 5 for South Shelby, which will fight its way through Scotland, North, Knox County, and Paris again. Let's take a look at Class 2, District 6 now. Changes afoot there as well, where the Clarence Cannon Conference squads, Palmyra, Clark County, and Highland, must now contend with a pair of formidable newcomers in Montgomery County. Always a team that puts up a lot of points. One of the first true spread teams in the state of Missouri. That's no small affair. Neither is North Callaway. The Thunderbirds have kind of bounced back and forth the last couple of years, but that's a program with great tradition as well. The neat thing, if you're Palmyra or Clark County, Bowling Green, Van Far, or Clopton, you're going to see somebody a little different. And that's kind of spice up the district a little bit. Again, new teams, and for a team like Palmyra, which had state championship thoughts last year and may have the same this season, that's a pretty darn good run. That's a pretty good proving ground just to get through a district. So we will see. You got to be legit to get through Montgomery County. Bowling Green there, as I mentioned, as well. No real changes in Class 4, District 7. Hannibal, the same usual suspects for them. Elias, Mexico, Moberly, you know the drill. But that is the new districting for football. Should make things plenty interesting coming up down the road. Let's do a little college baseball today. QU taking on Missouri S&T. QU up 2-1, trying to preserve that lead. Dominic Miles, do some things, my friend, out in right field. Check him out. Former catcher, turning the double play right there. Kid just looked absolutely sensational. We'll show it to you again. Sensational 7-worthy right there. Good stuff from him. The big storyline in this game, this helps the Hawks complete a sweep today and helps Josh Raby win his 100th career game as the Hawks skipper. Man, that went by fast. 175, I think his record is, which is very respectable as well. As we show you the scoreboard, the Hawks won the first game today by the final count of 4-1 as well. Nice home sweep for them. They're back in action coming up tomorrow. Also on the docket today, Culver Stockton in action. Craig Bostert, who has been ace-like this season, on the hill, down 2-0 already, taking on a very good Baker squad right here. And Mr. Bostert, the Unity product, the John Wood product, dealing early, trying to get himself back reestablished. Had 6 strikeouts in the day in limited work. However, things would go awry when Joshua Zach right here finds a power alley, and this ball's just going to roll to extend the lead out to 3-0. That, my friends, is an RBI triple, and that was really all Thomas Hawkins would need today. The kid throwing for Baker was ridiculously filthy today. Took a no-hitter through 8 2/3, got broken up in the last at bat, but that kid absolutely had Culver baffled today as Culver Stockton loses the second game of the doubleheader 7-0. They dropped the first one as well today as they end up getting swept on the day as well. 5-4 was your final as Baker would rally late to win that ball game. Elsewhere on the docket today, Monmouth College getting felled by Illinois College. Austin Dormeyer, the pride of Camp Point Central, in the first game with a ribby and a couple of walks in that game. Second game, Austin Hardy, who will pitch tomorrow for our friends at Monmouth, ended up getting the 1-for-3 appearance at the plate on the day as well. Elsewhere on the docket, HLG loses to Lyon College 7-2, and in the second game scores some runs behind Curtis Stout, I should say, but loses a 10-8 decision there as well. Some scores as well of the women's variety. Home run number 10 on the season for Alana Viken. But Quincy University loses at William Jewell 4-3 and ends up getting swept today as William Jewell wins the second game. 7-6 was your final. Western Illinois, no match. Fort Wayne losing the first game 2-0 and the second game 10-2. We've got Culver Stockton getting beaten game number 1 by Avila 3-1. But the second game, All Lady Wildcats, Kim Myers threw in a 3-run home run in the 6th to help that tally work in the right direction for the Lady Cats. HLG today gets a win over Lyon College 5-3 in the first game, and then HLG bounces back and completes the sweep as Abby Garcia went 3-for-4 at the plate. Illinois College gets a home run from Payson Seymour's Elise Speckart to beat Grinnell 14-0 in the first game, and the second game not much prettier for Grinnell as they end up losing 3-1 was your final. I talked about soccer today, defending Missouri State champs. Jeff City Helias in town today, taking on Quincy High School. Check out Anna Stock. She was absolutely standing on her head today. This at the 15-minute mark. Great save for her. We'll show it to you again in slow motion. She had it absolutely going on today. She was an absolute wall at the last line of defense. And in fact, these highlights will basically serve as an appreciation of Miss Anna Stock off the corner restart. Bounces one off the pole right there. First half, she would pitch the shutout, and against Jeff City Helias, that is no small affair. Second half, she was pretty darn good as well. Look at that save as well from Anna Stock. 2 brilliant saves right there, and she just kept working. How about a third as well? Anna Stock, still 0-0. Eventually, though, Helias would break through as that young lady's cranium gets in the way momentarily. But here comes Miss Weaver punching home what turned out to be the go-ahead and golden goal in this game. 1-0 at that point. With 3.8 seconds left, Helias would add one more to make it a 2-0 loss for the Blue Devils. Nothing for Anna Stock to hide her head or hang her head about today. She was fantastic. So too, for the most part, was the Quincy High back line. Injuries today also hurt Quincy High as Kaylee Kuhlman got hurt early. Quincy High lost a lot of its offensive punch in that one. Still, not a bad showing against the defending Missouri State champs. And we'll have more overtime for you coming up after this. Yes, we are. Thank you. It's Con Communication Connection time, and we've got a dandy this week from Mr. Trenton Krebs of Macomb, your third baseman against Quincy High, losing cause ultimately for the Bombers, but through no fault of Trenton's defense. Check him out at third base. Great snare right here, throwing from his knees awkwardly to second base to get the out, and Mr. Krebs showing great strength from an awkward position to get that force out at second base. Congratulations to Trenton, one of the best defensive offerings we've seen in the early season. That kid can play a little baseball. Of course, good bloodlines don't hurt. So that is nominee number 4, the fourth and final for the month of March. We'll wrap it up all this week. You can go to connecttristates.com or khqa.com if you prefer, and we'll have a chance for you to vote. And simply by voting for your favorite, you get a chance to not only name the play of the month, you get a chance just simply by voting to be registered for a great prize package from Con Communication. Your finalist again, Alex Blickhand, dunking on a 7-footer in the state semifinals against Mooseheart for Unity. Lauren Whelan with the goal on her birthday for the Hannibal soccer team. Pretty upper 90 goal last week from Quincy High's Kaylee Kuhlman, who ended up completing a 3-0 victory on Friday night in that one. And the play you just saw from Mr. Trenton Krebs of Macomb, all worthy nominees. Vote for your favorite. Vote until Friday. Coming up right here on Overtime next weekend, we'll announce our winner of the prize and our winner of Play of the Month. And coming up tomorrow right here, I'm back in tomorrow night, rare Sunday night, because we've got big news. We wrap up KHQA Basketball Awards Week with the naming of our Boys Basketball Player of the Year. It was just a runaway in our office in the vote. Tyler Neiman running away with the vote this year, the Canton High School point guard. We'll explain exactly why he is your Player of the Year. We'll justify that pick coming up tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. And we will also tell you why he and Katie Hinkle made a little history in Player of the Year honors as well. That's all coming up tomorrow. We've got more overtime, though, straight ahead for you. Hey, shout out to my man Pablo Sandoval watching tonight in Fort Madison.